Hi everybody, it's Leanne. I want to say hi. Hope you're all healthy and doing well. Being we can't do cooking class together this month, we are going to try a virtual class. So in keeping with our baking from around the world, we are going to try a Greek Easter cookie this month. So I hope you will join us. And if you haven't ever done cooking class, give it a try. For the ingredients you'll need for the Koulourakia cookies is a stick of butter or half a cup, 8 tablespoons. You'll need some sugar, some flour, 2 eggs. One will actually go in the dough and the other one is used for an egg wash. That's brushed on the outside of the cookie. Some vanilla, some baking powder, zest of an orange, and some salt. For equipment, you're going to need 2 bowls to mix the wet and dry ingredients in, a mixer if you've got a whisk. If not, you could definitely use a spoon or a fork, a spatula, measuring cups, a teaspoon and a tablespoon. You're going to need a smaller bowl and fork for the egg wash, a brush if you have it to brush the outside of the cookies. You could also fold over a paper towel and use that as a makeshift brush, a cookie sheet. And the cookie sheet needs to be greased, so either use some cooking spray or some butter, and then the pancake flipper. Okay, so the first thing before we start baking, we're definitely going to want to wash our hands and make sure that we have clean hands. We're going to start with the zest because not everybody is familiar with that. So with your orange, you're going to want to wash that with soap and water under the faucet. Make sure it's clean, dry it off or let it dry before. Then you're going to want to zest. And what zest is taking the orange peel off of the orange. You don't want that white pithy part. You're just really wanting the orange skin of a lot of essential oil, and that orange flavor is really in that. So the tools you can use to do that, if you have a zester, that works really easy, being able to pull off fine little strips of the orange. If you don't have that, if you've got a rasp or some kind of grater, a box grater, a flat grater, that would work also. If you don't have any of those, a plain old vegetable peeler will work. You can cut off a slice, and then you'll need to cut it up. So that's going to be a little more time consuming, but you can do it. So you're just going to make little strips, and then you're just going to make little cuts. Okay, so you don't even have to get your fingers near the end of the knife, and you're just making really just little chunks. I don't know if you can see that on there. When you get to that stage, you really can just don't even have to hold it to get it smaller. You can put your finger on the end of the knife and just push down and just haphazardly, really just kind of keep chopping up, and you'll end up with a finer kind of crumble there. Okay, and that's perfect. However you need to do to get your zest, depending on what equipment you have. So you want the zest of 1 orange for this. For this recipe, we're going to take half a cup of butter, which is the full stick, and we're going to put this in the bowl. And then you need a half a cup of sugar. Now, remembering with your measuring, scoop it, and then you're going to want to run a knife over to make sure you have a level cup there of sugar. Okay. Then what we are going to do is take our mixer and mix this up. We're going to want to make sure that we get the sugar all incorporated in there, and beat it for a little bit so that the granules are starting to dissolve in there. Remembering to use your spatula to wipe down the sides to make sure we get everything incorporated in there, okay? So I'm gonna pause the video for a second and do that so you don't have to listen to the mixer noise, okay? Okay, so we have our butter and sugar creamed together in the bowl, and we scrape down our sides to make sure we got all the ingredients well incorporated. Then we're going to add our egg. So you can crack an egg and add that right in. We're going to add our orange zest right in there. And then 2 teaspoons of vanilla. So if you're worried about getting too much vanilla at once, you can always pour over a separate bowl in case it splashes out more vanilla than what you want. So that is it for our wet ingredients. I'm just going to break up this egg a little bit, mix the vanilla, and then get the butter and sugar incorporated here. Okay, so it's probably easier to just use the mixer and get that all incorporated and wipe down your sides really well. And then we can move to our dry ingredients, okay? So with that, grab your other bowl, and you are going to need 1.3 cups of flour. Now, remembering how we measure our flour again, you can dip in and then make sure it's full and level it off. Okay, so that's 1 cup. And we need another 1/3 cup. Okay, do the same thing, get it leveled off. Baking is a little more particular and the exact measurement than cooking, so it helps if you can really work on getting those measurements. Baking powder, we need 1 teaspoon of that, and we're going to dip in. Most of the baking powders will have this metal lip here, so that's really easy just to use as a leveling device. Built right into the canister, so that's awesome. So that's our teaspoon of baking powder, and then just literally a pinch of salt, okay? So you can take your whisk, or if you don't have a whisk, really just use a fork or a spoon. You just want to get that salt and baking powder mixed with the flour really well, okay? And that should be good. And then we're going to dump our dry ingredients into our wet ingredients. This is a really good time then to double check our recipe, make sure we didn't forget an ingredient. So we've got our butter, our sugar, our egg, our vanilla, flour, baking powder, orange zest, and a pinch of salt. So we've got everything in there. So then you're just going to try to work those wet ingredients into the flour. Okay, so while our dough is chilling, I had an opportunity to clean up the table and get the dishes done. So now I'm going to get the egg wash ready. So the egg wash, you're going to need an egg and then a tablespoon of cold water to add to that. So you're going to take a small bowl and just crack your egg into that, and then add a tablespoon of cold water into that bowl, and then all you really need to do is just whisk that up really well. You really want to make sure those egg whites are incorporated really well. I don't know if you can see that without me dumping it on the counter, but looks like scrambled eggs. So that's what we're going to use to brush the top. That will help in the oven get the tops nice and golden brown. Okay. And and we've got our cookie sheet that let's go ahead and grease. So you could either use butter and unwrap it a little bit here, and you could just rub it to put a layer on there, or you could use a cooking spray and just spray it on there so your cookies don't stick. So whatever you have handy or whatever you find easiest to use, go ahead and get your cookie sheets prepared. Then the next step will be we need to flour a little bit on our counter. So I'm just going to take this scoop and sprinkle a little bit of flour. So this is like a braided cookie. So we got our cookie dough that has been chilling. So we're going to take about a tablespoon. And what we want to do is roll it out into like a log. Okay, so you're just going to take it and keep rolling and rolling. Okay, so you roll it out to about 8 inches is what they want. Put the two ends together, take the bottom, and then just twist it, okay? And then you're gonna put it on your cookie sheet. Okay, so we'll do that again. If your dough becomes too soft, just stick it back in the fridge for a little bit, okay? So we're gonna roll this out again. Double it back into half. I'm trying to get it on the camera so you can see here. And then just twist the one end and hold the other, okay? So you can keep doing that. The recipe says you get about 16 in there, so I'm going to keep doing this, and then we will let you know how many I get out of the recipe. Okay? All right, last one. What I found is if you roll it back upon itself and just hold the two ends, it twists nicely too. So that is our cookies. If I do it again, I probably would make them a little petiter, but I was able to get 2, 4, 6, 10, 12, 14, 15 out of it. So depending on how much dough you take. Then you're going to take your egg wash, and if you have a brush, if not, just take a paper towel and fold it over a couple times. And you're just going to brush that on to your cookies. There is another version of this cookie where you don't add the orange zest, and after you do the egg wash, you top it with sesame seeds. So if you want to try that variation, that would be fun too. All right. So once you've got it egg washed, they're ready for the oven, which is preheated to 350 degrees. And so these need to bake 20 to 22 minutes. With your leftover egg wash, you definitely can save that and make scrambled eggs in the morning, or put it with your pancake mix or whatever, but definitely can use that another day. Okay, so here are your Greek Easter cookies. They're a crispier cookie that's not real sweet. Would be great for with a cup of coffee or hot chocolate. They do spread out, so the second batch I did try and do a little smaller. So I hope you enjoy. Let me know if you liked them. Okay, so the second batch I cooked a little less time. I gave it 19 minutes. And we actually like it better. Not that we've been trying cookies all afternoon, but Mom approved. She liked the second batch better. So we hope you enjoy. Stay safe.